Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shadowed City podcast. I am your host, Larry, and this is the Shadows Within. Got a few shows to go over, starting with GPW WWM Ascension, an 8-man battle royal between Turtle Harrington, Mason Payne, Jake King, Ace Green, Bobo the Clown, Ranger Rogue, Jackson Mitchell, and Lil Devil, with Jackson Mitchell walking away victorious. Extreme Rules Buster Anderson versus Alexander, with Buster Anderson walking away victorious. Lady Felony versus Countess Cyclone, with Countess Cyclone walking away victorious. Alexander the Judge versus Ronan Drake the champion for the HOH UK Championship. Ronan Drake retained. Outlaw versus the champion Jack Graves for the WWM International Championship. Jack Graves retained the gold. Riley Steele versus Nikita, with Riley Steele walking away victorious. Emma Frost versus Callie Bass, with Emma Frost walking away victorious. Welcome Chris Graves. Big T versus Aku, the champion for the WWM X Division Championship, with Aku retaining the gold. And in the main event for the Tag Team Championships, Demonic Brothers versus the Final Four versus the Red Wolves versus the Frosts. The Cold Front, with the champions losing the gold to the Final Four, with the Final Four becoming the new champions. There was an 8-man tournament that took place on another GPW test setting show. Hashtag Frost versus Big Goose. Hashtag Frost advancing to the second round. Bobo the Clown versus Buster Anderson, with Buster Anderson advancing to the second round. Blade versus Carnage, with Carnage advancing to the second round. Ranger Rogue versus Frank Ortiz, with Ranger Rogue advancing to the second round. Hashtag Frost versus Buster Anderson, with Buster Anderson headed to the finals. Carnage versus Ranger Rogue, with Carnage headed to the finals. Buster Anderson versus Carnage, with Carnage walking out victorious. Now we're going to go over All-Star Pro. Akane, All-Star Pro Grindhouse Season 4, Episode 3. Akane versus Dominic Jason, with Akane walking away victorious. KCK versus Sonia Ortiz, with Sonia Ortiz walking away victorious. Juan Sanchez versus Jesse Harper, with Jesse Harper walking away victorious. Madison Outlaw versus Bandita, with Bandita walking away victorious. Don Wildside versus KD, with KD walking away victorious. Blackheart Collective versus the Rockstars, with Rockstars walking away victorious. Carlos Cruz versus Kando Dragon, with Carlos Cruz walking away victorious. Grindhouse Championship Rose Wilson versus the champion Christine St. James, with Rose Wilson walking out the new champion. Grindhouse Championship, the champion Shinjo defending against Shaquille, with Shinjo retaining the gold. All-Star Pro Pile Driver Season 4, Episode 3. Frank Ortiz versus J Rock, with Frank Ortiz walking away victorious. RFL versus Nina Schmidt, with Nina Schmidt walking away victorious. Adam Matthews versus Montgomery Sherman, with Montgomery Sherman walking away victorious. Ronan Reaper versus the Ghost J Jin, with J Jin walking away victorious. Lil Devil versus Bishop Blaze, with Lil Devil walking away victorious. The Savage John Robb versus Alex Knight, with Alex Knight walking away victorious. Jake King versus Big Lou, with Big Lou walking away victorious. Number 1 contenders match, Cali Rage versus Reagan Anderson, with Reagan Anderson walking away victorious. Derek Sicario versus the Dog Rob Anderson, with Derek Sicario walking away victorious. ASW Roman Reigns versus Jay Smoke to kick off the show, with Roman Reigns walking away victorious. 8 ladies Money in the Bank ladder match, Isabella Steele versus Madison Outlaw versus Madam Moon versus HBIC Nisha versus Violet Death versus Haley Ramone versus Angela versus Cyborg Jackie, which HBIC Nisha walking away victorious. Jackson Wright versus Kang, with Jackson Wright walking away victorious. ASW Cold Heart Championship, Victoria Ritchie versus the champion Bunny Black, with HBIC Nisha cashing in during the matchup to make it a triple threat, with Bunny Black retaining the gold. 3 stages of Hell. First round Extreme Rules, second round Inferno, third, if necessary, Hell in a Cell. Garmar versus Inkslinger. Extreme Rules won by Garmar, Inferno was won by Garmar, so there was no need for the third matchup. ASW 2 out of 3 no weapons. Marcus Banks versus Chico, with Chico walking away victorious. No Man's Land Championship and the No Man's Land match 2 out of 3, which is their version of the Underground. Emily Wright versus the champion Big Bertha, with Emily Wright walking out victorious. Fatal 4-way between Jay Money, Killian Bain, Corey Bishop, and Stevie D'Angelo in a scrapyard brawl, with Jay Money walking away victorious. And in the main event, ASW King of Kings Championship, ASW rules, Dimebag Dan versus the American Badass, the champion John Wigginton, with John Wigginton retaining the gold. And IZW beatdown. Akane and Ultimo versus Katie and the Combat Genius, with Akane and Ultimo walking away victorious. Angel Bryant versus Sonya Ortiz, with Sonya Ortiz walking away victorious. Primetime JoJo versus Nexus versus Gang Mac, with JoJo walking away victorious. Falls Count Anywhere Fatal 4-way, Becca Edwards versus Jules Wigginton versus Kaiba Frost versus Reagan Anderson, with Becca Edwards walking away victorious. The Gladiator Corey Bishop took on Buster Anderson, with Corey Bishop walking away victorious. RFL versus Madison Landon versus Rose Wilson versus Tyda Baz versus Sarah Simpson versus Nina Schmidt versus Jen versus Miss D Misdemeanor, with Sarah Simpson walking away victorious. The King family, Max and Alex King versus the Savage John Robin Big Lou with the Red Wolves walking away victorious. Pippo Malice versus Devin Deuce, with Pippo Malice walking away victorious. And in the main event, Montgomery Sherman versus Adrian Danger versus the Voice of Violence, with the Voice of Violence walking away victorious. I want to give a few prayers and shout outs to people. Logan Slater, Lil Psycho, aka Renee, and Chris Cleve. You guys are all in our thoughts. Love and prayers to you all. And you guys always have my support, and everybody else. We all love you guys for what you guys are going through. And you're never alone. Love you guys. And that's really what I wanted to go over and give a shout out to them. Always check in on your loved ones, everybody. You never know when the day will be your final day. And yeah. All love.